Greetings, everyone. You're back, and we're back, and happy to be back at the BDN podcast, dedicated to bring news to the whole Black diaspora from the Final Call newspapers, reading and analysis. So, this week, we're going to talk about a very important conference that took place in Atlanta that really affects all of us in the diaspora and gives us clues as to what we should be doing all over, including right here in Montreal. So let's talk about it right after this.
Welcome to our weekly Black Diaspora News podcast. Let's begin.
Once again, greetings, my brothers and sisters of peace. Assalamu alaikum, as we say in our original language. Now, the 2023 All Black National Convention, hosted by Dr. Boyce Watkin, unfolded in Atlanta, showcasing Black excellence across various domains. Dr. Watkins, as it is reported in the Final Call newspaper article, Dr. Watkins emphasized the need for spaces where the Black community can connect and accelerate progress in crucial areas. He says, quote, "We need spaces that are not just safe space, but sacred. As Black people, we need to educate our own children, create our own jobs, support Black-owned businesses," end quote. Well, you may not know that Dr. Watkins actually met with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and shared insights from a 2-hour-long conversation that he had with the minister, where they discussed the pillars of wealth, education, family, and community as building blocks for Black development. Now, why are these areas crucial? Dr. Watkins laid out a 50-year plan based on wealth, education, family, and health, emphasizing that the goal is personal transformation. We in the nation call this self-improvement, the basis for community development. And by the way, you're welcome to come out every Friday online to join us during our self-improvement study guides. Now, again, to quote Dr. Boyce Watkin, he says, "The convention is for people to transform, to get rid of the old person and replace them with someone better." Also, the convention, now in its 8th year, returned to Atlanta, featuring sessions that predominantly focused on wealth and education. Topics range from mastering the money mindset to building wealth through government contracting and the future of Black business. Julian Gordon, a real estate educator, challenged conventional views on money, defining it as, quote, "my own natural energy yield." He argued with attendees to solve problems they are passionate about with financial success as a natural outcome. We also had our sister Constance Carter, a wealth activist who shared biblical principles for success, emphasizing the importance of having a vision, speaking it, and working towards it. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as this reminds us, talks about in Building the Will, part 1, 2, and 3. The convention wasn't just about wealth, though. It delved into education and global perspectives. Jay Cameron, a world traveler, highlighted the benefits of traveling to Africa for Black Americans, emphasizing the love, respect, and opportunities available. Dr. Ken Harris, CEO of the National Business League, discussed the future of Black business, calling for Black people to become the number one employers of Black people and fostering entrepreneurship, which is exactly what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been advocating for more than 90 years now. See, family and relationships also took center stage because you can't build anything without a family. With sessions on Black family master plan and discussions on masculinity, femininity, and relationships. Lawrence Watkins emphasized breaking generational cycles to strengthen Black families. Lawrence Watkins says, quote, "We've been having this exact same conversation for many generations, and it's up to us to break that cycle moving forward," end quote. Now, these are just highlights that we've brought to you based on our reading of this wonderful article from the Final Call newspaper. But now what we want to do is first go in the link below if you're on YouTube and click on that link, because this is where we have the Final Call newspaper article. Second, right after this break, make sure you come back, make sure you stay on, because we will be with our panelists to discuss this in more details. And we want to talk about diasporas, not namely ours in Montreal, on how can we build this vision into the future. We'll be back after this commercial break.
There is a need in our community for a universal change. And it has to start with the man. Being a man of God means being a man possessed of the knowledge, the spirit, and the power of God, anointed to do his will. People, you first must make every man, no matter what his color, no matter what his race, every man, in order to be a man, must be a man of God, or he's not a man at all. Let us make
All right. We are back. We are live. Thank you all for tuning in. For those who are tuning in now, as well as for those who will be tuning in later. And I'm joined with my two esteemed, knowledgeable, wise colleagues from the Muhammad Study Group of Montreal, Brother Abdul Sabir Muhammad and Brother Gabriel X. So thank you both for being on as always. So let's go right into it. We got a good 20 minutes, I believe, ahead of us. So let's go into the first question based on this reading from this latest article from the Final Call newspaper. How can the principles of wealth, education, family, and health outlined at the All Black National Convention be applied in practical terms within the Black community? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was told by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to speak for the whole. So, this is a plan for the whole. So, how? Let's start with you, Brother Sabir.
Yes, sir, brother. Thank you so much. Praise be to Allah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I thank Allah for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and this wonderful Final Call newspaper, the greatest newspaper in the world. And the programs of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, really inspiring, life-changing. And I'm honored to be on this platform that we can extend and reach all of humanity. Brother Roger, my colleague, Brother Gabriel, wonderful. I'm truly honored to share what little that as students of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we can share with the world that is edifying, that is respectful, that is clean, progressive, a new educational paradigm. So I thank you so much for such a wonderful question. And as I read the article by our beloved sister Anisa Muhammad of the Final Call, and I was reading the words of Dr. Boyce Watkins, the main word that really came up out of the article was all black. And that word, I think, I love the way he introduced and he talked about how he was inspired 8 years ago. And we have to really go into his mind. When I read the article, I was trying to go into his mind. I was trying to go into his meeting with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for two hours to speak about education and wealth and family. And those are the topics where post-slavery, we're suffering the most as individuals and as a community. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us that we are not really a community, we're just a colony. And when you look at the word colony, it is something that is controlled from the outside. A community is controlled from the inside. So Dr. Boyce Watkins was really going to the root because whatever he learned from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he talked about being inspired by the Nation of Islam. And just to be quite frank, my first introduction to an all-black event, Safe Space, was when I attended the Savior's Day, hosted by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that was my first safe space. And we need a safe space. Those of us who are suffering from post-traumatic slavery, mind and Stockholm syndrome, we need to have a safe space where we're completely separated from our oppressors, that we can heal. So separation, when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said separation is the best and only answer, he was a spiritual doctor, because that's therapy. Any woman that's raped, she needs to first be separated from all men. So when they send a police department, they always send a female officer to deal with the female that was raped and was aggressed, because she needs to be in a safe space. So Dr. Boyce Watkins, I love what he's doing. I love his ideas. He's very fresh. I like the guy. And one day I hope to meet him. And I love the way he respects the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our elder, a man that we can learn from, all of us, no matter how old we are. So what I really took away to go deep into it is the word all black, coming back to it, because black needs to be defined. And we need to understand what all black means, because when you look at the photo, you have all the colors representing black. You have dark black, light black, medium black. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the black man is God. And we all went to school learning about Zinjanthropus, not knowing that they were telling us that the first man after God, or is God, they called him Zinjanthropus, which actually means black. So we were learning that the Asiatic black man is the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, and the God of the universe. And then when we got into genetics and we got into science, Then we were introduced to Gregory Mendel, and Mendel established Mendelian law, where he said you can get the light from the dominant, but you can never get the dominant from the light or the recessive. So the black man is the original man, and this is the new knowledge, the new educational paradigm that we need to embark in. But it starts with the black man and woman accepting their own, accepting a safe space, accepting separation, and having it in the All Black Convention is and the workshops that they did dealing with politics, and not politics, but education and wealth and family. This is something that Dr. Boyce Watkins, as I was getting up into his mind, I was seeing what he saw on that Sunday 8 years ago. And if you go back in North America 8 years ago was the black community and brown community was receiving the victimization of police brutality and murder. If you go back, so the Honorable Louis Farrakhan in 10-10-15, he called for justice or else. Then he took something from Dr. King, which was economic withdrawal. So not only should we separate to a safe space, but we should separate our dollars. And the safe space we need to separate it to is to another black person. Separate your dollar to another black person and don't give it to the oppressor who's using it to oppress you. So I love that concept of boycotting Christmas, boycotting Easter, boycotting Thanksgiving, and spend with your own. So I love the workshops. I love the different kiosks that they had where they were selling. And now we need 8 to 10 states. We need to separate into our own land that we can have that safe space on a permanent level. So the program is we need reparations. And I was blessed to hear them discuss reparations in one of the workshops, because that is the key into healing our own. We cannot rely on others anymore to do what the messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says that we should do. We should rely on self and help self. And one of the things that I also took away from the article in getting healed from this Stockholm syndrome of loving our oppressor and want to be with them, what I love is when the minister says that we were robbed of a knowledge of self. Keep in mind, every word that's connected to the word self, we were also robbed of knowing what is our own self-interest. What is our own self-interest? Meaning I have to know what is beneficial to black people first. And of course, black is universal. He teaches that the brown man came from the black, the yellow man came from the black, and they all came from, so we're the root, we're the mother and father of civilization, and we should be so proud. So that article really empowered me, and it let me know that you don't have to be a Muslim in the Nation of Islam to put the program of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said in the article, we need to be like-minded. And that's what I love the most, to be like-minded. So I want to heal back to hear my wonderful colleague, Brother Gabriel, take us on a higher level as we go deeper into this article to extract what we have learned from it and how we can add to it. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Abdul Sabir, for sharing what you shared, brother. Wonderful. So, yeah, and that reminds me, by the way, of what Student Minister Nuri always says, that unity is not uniformity, which is I find it so well put that we can unite in our diversity as black people, as Aboriginal people. Brother Gabriel, come on now. We would love to hear from you, sir.
Yes, sir.
What your perspective is, and to restate, the question, what are the ways, that we can actually apply all these beautiful principles in practical terms?
Yes, sir. It's always delicate to come after Brother Abdul Sabir because he brings so much to the table. Then, and I have to come with something as good as that, or to try to beat that. But I don't think I can do that. I'm gonna try to just be very succinct because actually there are already initiatives in Quebec that are applying what Dr. Boyce Watkins is promoting in his convention. Basically, here in Quebec, we have a business, if you want, an organization that is building a network for businesses for the original family first. And that is going with the mindset of Dr. Watkins, like I'm saying, and also of the Nation of Islam, like Brother Abdul Sabir was saying. So I have two examples. One of the examples is maybe you both brothers know, is the One Full Circle of Brother Pharaoh Freeman, a great brother, a great entrepreneur, and his initiative is basically doing that. It's networking businesses for the needs of the original family by the original family. So I believe this is in line with Brother Watkins, and this is in Quebec. So we don't have to go to the United States to reach for that kind of service. And it has a very simple membership. You can join for free if you want, but you can add to it. And if you have a business, you can promote it. And it's all about linking the original people together and going to ourselves first before going outside of the circle, which is why it is the One Full Circle. And it has a beautiful logo. I have here the pin. It's a beautiful logo going in a circle, of course, because we want to keep the dollar inside the longest you can in the family, in the original family, before it goes out. So this is a great example I thought was worth mention to our viewers and to ourselves. So great work by Brother Freeman and One Full Circle. And the second one I had in mind is, I heard it recently actually. It's a radio host of the 102.3 FM, which is Radio Montréal here. It's Brother Jean Belzy. I don't know if you ever heard Jean Belzy on the radio. He's from Haiti, and he's also working on the same kind of services that Brother Freeman is giving, but he's coming with this initiative because he has many contacts through his years in the radio. And his idea is to have a centralized system where people can just basically ask, I need somebody to, I need a tailor, I need a car, I need this, I need that, I need somebody to come fix my refrigerator, my AC, whatever. And he wants to offer that service to everybody. So he wants to centralize everything, and we have somebody for you. We can send you somebody. So this is to connect people together. And also, I mean, it's basically what we want. It's for ourselves, basically. It's having a service for our community. And again, to finish on my answer is to always keep the dollar inside the longest we can before it goes out. So these are two examples I wanted to bring to your attention, and inshallah, it's good enough for the first segment. So I'm yielding my how would I say, my parole.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, brother Gabriel. Very insightful words as always. And it's great examples that you shared with us in the audience of brothers, right? All the way up here in Montreal, Canada, doing some things. And so speaking of those things that, those initiatives and those practical applications. So shifting gears a little bit, we talked about business and doing for self, which is absolutely important. There is another extremely and perhaps even more fundamental aspect to the conference, as it was highlighted in the Final Call newspaper, and that is the principle of family and relationships. So in the context of discussions on family and relationships, how can the Black community address and overcome challenges in that area and start to build trust among one another. As that was another point in the highlights of the conference, building trust, starting at the family level, knowing that we have terrible statistics along with our, especially here in Canada, along with our native First Nations brothers and sisters. Uh, the rate of single home, like single parent homes, is very, very high. Not too many Black and Aboriginal young brothers and sisters grow up with a father in the house, for example. So how do we now take these principles to improve the family as the foundation? Back to you, dear brother Sabir.
Yes, sir, brother. Beautiful question. And I saw that in the conference, they talked about family and education. And also in the similar discussion with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Dr. Boyce Watkins. And what I think inspires Dr. Boyce Watkins, I don't know, I could just guess, is when he looks at what is given to us, we, the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is our respect for the female and the respect for self. And we teach that the Black man is God and the Black woman is God. So we can never disrespect God. And so this is the foundation of our teachings. And this is the way we see each other as brothers and sisters. And brothers and sisters, that title was given to us by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we address each other as brother and sisters. And this, I believe, is the root, that we don't see each other as brothers and sisters, because my family, you would be my uncle to my children, and I would be the uncle to your children. So we have to start seeing ourselves as brothers and sisters of one big family. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we are from the lost tribe of Shabazz. And coming into North America, first stopping in the Caribbean and scattered by the colonialists into the different islands, we have taken on their mentality, where we feel now the title of me is Jamaican, the title of me is Trinidadian, the title of me is Canadian, the title of me is African American. So they have set up these mindsets of separation, and this is the way that they roll. So we need to have a new mind, a new thinking. And I believe Dr. Boyce is inspired to see how all of the followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad have separated ourselves from nationalism, and we see each other as brothers and sisters under one universal flag, which is the sun. We all need the sun. We all need the moon. We all need the stars. We all need freedom, justice, and equality. And this is what unites us. And many people are inspired when they see the followers. And then when they hear some of us speaking Spanish, some of us speaking Creole, some of us speaking Japanese, they're amazed. They say, how is Farrakhan able to do that? He's received a divine teachings that teaches us we're all brothers and sisters under the true and the living God. And this is what we need to bring, and we should bring to the members of our family, that unites us, that will cause us to put down the guns, the weapons. And of course, one more thing that we don't want to overlook is the divine law that was given to us, which is called the restrictive law of peace. We say Islam, but it's the restrictive laws of peace. And those 35 laws is the laws that when you look at them, if you're offended by it, then you have to really look at what slavery has really done to you. Because if you love those things that you've been asked not to do, you're saying, wow, I've been really unjust to myself. Really been unjust to myself. I've been other than myself. And he says, what is your own self? Your self is a righteous person, or we say a righteous Muslim. So this is what we bring to our brothers. We teach them who they really are. They are the women and the men of God. And to finish on this point, in the book of Habakkuk, Prophet Habakkuk says, peace be upon him, said, God came from Teman and the Holy One from Mount Paran. So the God that's on the scene today is the Holy One. So when we say God, we're talking about the Holy One. Good morals, good behaviors, good manners, respecting all regardless of creed, class, and color. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much, Brother Abdul Sabir. Very, very, very insightful. And you know, you brought a lot of points. And I want to remind our audience that all of this that we're discussing comes from this great newspaper, the Final Call newspaper that you're seeing on the screen. This is the digital edition. This is the digital edition. If you live in the Montreal area, you can contact us directly at gem02@gmail.com, and we can come deliver directly to your home. But if you are not, and you don't necessarily have access to an FOI on your street corner, you can type bit.ly/SDN digital subscribe. And this will leave a sign. This click is going to be sending a signal out to Chicago that this one came from the podcast. So we don't have any affiliate monies that are coming in. We're doing this because we love it and because we believe that this paper can really bring you life. So everything that we've discussed comes from this paper. You can get your online edition. Please make sure you subscribe. So having said that, let's turn to you, Brother Gabriel, in terms of the same question, dealing with family, dealing with trust, relationships, because without it, it's very difficult to build a business network, right? And we know that there's a problem with family units. We know that there's a problem with interpersonal relationships among the Black and Aboriginal people, and the problem of trust. So how do we solve that using those principles that Dr. Boyce Watkins has been sharing based on, again, his 2-hour conversation with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Yeah, yes, sir. I don't claim to have the solution, but I can bring my thoughts in the discussion, of course. I believe that what Brother Abdul Sabir said is important, to know who we are first, know thyself. So you said about family and single parents mostly. I believe that being taught by our own is one of the keys. Like Muhammad University of Islam, basically Black people, or actually I should say original people, being taught by original people. So this, at least you're seeing always yourself in. You're not like, one of the solutions would be to shut down the TV, because the TV, what you're going to see is going to see in the ads a Black man with a white woman, a white man with a Black woman, some things like that. So this is going to create an imbalance. So therefore, if I'm a young child, I'm looking at these ads and it's playing in my head. So basically, I have to find if I'm white, well, I'm going to go for a Black woman. If I'm a Black man, I'm going to go for a white woman, which is ludicrous, unless it's love at first. I mean, if it's love, we can do nothing about that. But I mean,
but your point being about, the Black family, like that, it's essentially, you can't have a strong family, Black family unit if there isn't that initial love. And we're going after another community, but we're not even appreciating the woman in our community, right?
Exactly. And thank you for bringing it with such clarity what I was trying to convey. And also, we know that the unit of a community is the family. So if the family are not strong, well, the community is weak. Another thing is that came to mind about single parents is Black men or original men not having good employment opportunities, business opportunities. If they don't have that, and we know they don't have it here in Quebec and Canada and necessarily in the United States, or they make it very hard for us to have opportunities. This can create financial insecurity for the women, and when this comes into the house, it breaks it. So this is one of the things that we must I wouldn't say correct because we're not the problem, but it's something that needs to be fixed. And how we're going to have employment opportunities is by having Black businesses trying to employ Black people or original people like the natives. It's not going to come from the white men, because if you look at the CEOs of the big companies, it's not black people. They say it's equality of employment, but this is a farce. This is a deception, in my perspective, and this is why. And I'm segueing in something else I had in mind before you asked the question, but it flows right along. When we go out with the Final Call newspaper, like for instance, this beautiful paper, which everybody needs to get as soon as possible. When we go out, we meet people. We meet our people, because we're looking for our people, basically. And so we can meet people who, in our countries, there are doctors, right? And I met somebody from Haiti who's a doctor back there, but here has to go through all the classes, the courses at university to revalidate, because there's no like, how would I say it, an exam that can make an equivalence to say that, okay, no, you're apt to, I mean the flu in Haiti is the same flu as in Quebec. And this happened to my father 42 years ago. So it hasn't changed. So when I say equality or employment equality or opportunities, it's a joke, because my father felt it 42 years ago with a family. And it's still going on, because that brother I met from Haiti, who's living here now, was here like 3 months ago. He arrived. So, of course, this is unacceptable for our population, to our community, to be lured here and to not have opportunity. So this is one of the things I had in mind. So that's what I love about Dr. Watkins' convention, is that a key point is he's not promoting to cry to the white man. He's not promoting, let's go make some protests in the streets. No sit-ins. No, it's basically let's go to work, and that is also what the Nation of Islam is all about. You don't see the Nation of Islam doing some sit-ins in front of a white business to get some opportunities. Just create a job for yourself. It sounds easy to do. We don't have the tools yet, which is why we have to be educated by our own. Basically, because they're not going to give that knowledge to us. Business is warfare also. So this is what I love about the article, is that it's not about crying and making some protests and going out with signs. No, just do something about it. And he has a 50-year plan. The Nation of Islam has the economic blueprint 3 years program, which I prefer, because for the impatient ones, 3 years it sounds better, I believe. And if we all unite, it could be easily done. So. The trust, you talked about trust. If we have problems with Black figures to trust because of how they have treated us in that way, to have doubts, well, one person that we can trust is Minister Farrakhan. I mean, who else is gonna take care of the money we send to build a nation? Oh, there you go. Beautiful economic blueprint. So this is for the original family. If we have a trust problem, this is key. And to finish about it, is that we have our program at the end of every single Final Call newspaper. And if you read it, here we have it. And if you read it and you read the article of in the Final Call news that we were discussing, it's basically, it looks like it's a blueprint from the nation's program. So this is great. This is wonderful, because like Brother Abdul Sabir said, we don't have to convert people. We don't have to all be Muslims in the Nation of Islam. No, we just need to unite, because our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. So there we go. I mean, let's just unite and go to work, because at some point the women's world is going to crumble, and they won't have jobs for themselves, and they're certainly not going to employ us before themselves, which is okay. I mean, that they want to live with their own, great. But then we have to separate, and the separation is the only and best solution. So that's how I would end my answer. Inshallah, it has answered your question. But again, just to summarize, our own people teaching our own, and having opportunities to make our women financially secure so that the family doesn't break. So that would be it. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, Brother Gabriel X. This was really great. Great discussion. We're already at the 40-minute mark, which means we're already at the end. It went by so fast. And but that's what happens when you have such thoughtful and deep conversations about these topics. And that's what happens when you read the Final Call newspaper. Again, we're promoting, but we're not shy about promoting it because we know it's great, really the greatest newspaper you can really put your hands on. And so when you're reading it, you're studying the content and the news in it, you can't help but to have deep conversations with so much to say. So get yourself a copy, everyone, if you're listening, and those who are listening. And on that, thank you both, Brother Abdul Sabir Muhammad, Brother Gabriel X. Thank you so much. Once again, this week we had a great discussion. We look forward to, God willing, next Sunday. And now this will be our new time. So next Sunday, 6:15, we are planning to do this every Sunday. Sometimes it will be pre-recorded, sometimes it'll be live, but we are committed to keeping this going, to continue that promotion. So spread the word, help us spread the word. Like, subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook channels for the Muhammad Study Group of Montreal. And of course, if you would like to donate and support, you can send e-transfers at gem02@gmail, because all of this that we're doing, it costs money. So as we were talking about Black businesses and everything is real, but we are committed to this and helping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this mission. So thank you once again, and thank you to our audience as we look forward to seeing you next week as we leave you with this important commercial break. Outro.